Hey everybody, and welcome to The Void, a show dedicated to filling the void between being an employee and becoming self-employed. Most people refer to starting their own company as taking the leap, as if they're blindly jumping off a cliff and into the unknown. This show is here to help you understand that it doesn't have to be that way. As always, if you like what you're hearing on the show, please do us a favor and help share The Void with somebody else who might be wanting to start their own company. We saw an opportunity to help others understand that self-employment is well within your reach, and just as our businesses have grown organically and by word of mouth, we want this show to grow the same way. So if you see somebody asking questions about starting or running their own service-based business, please do us a favor and send them a link to the show. I'm your host, Mitch Smedley, and with me as always is David Hilton.
Mitch.
David.
We've been spending a lot of time together, buddy.
I know. It's a little awkward. I almost feel like you should take me to dinner.
It's not. You know what? Trade winds, maybe trade winds will take us to dinner this week.
Yeah.
I don't.
You're trying to get in my pants. I feel like it.
I do. That's so weird. I have a.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Have you ever seen that movie Grandma's Boy?
No.
So
I've heard it's hilarious.
It is hilarious. So this like older guy works at a gaming place where they make video games.
Okay.
Right? And like all these guys are like 18, 19, 20, right? He's got to be, I don't know, in the movie 35, 40.
Okay.
They call him Graybush.
Okay.
Like that's his nickname.
Right.
Is Graybush, right? I have a lot of gray hairs. Okay?
None down there.
I have a lot of gray hairs. You have a lot of gray hairs. I have no gray hairs in my bush.
There's no bush.
Like
yeah.
I keep it high and tight.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I could still see. No?
No.
You? None?
I get gray eyebrow hairs. I have a gray eyelash.
So you have
but no gray bush. None.
Okay. I was just curious. Like I don't, like I'm looking, like is it me?
Yeah.
You know, like I'm getting some grays. You have way more than me.
Oh, I got a lot.
You got a lot. That's
Dude.
When you marry a redhead, that's on you. You know that you're going to get gray hairs.
You know what's wild?
Your dad's hair is pretty white too.
Yeah. But where mine really started to come in, this is so wild. So, 2 years ago or whatever, I did 75 hard. And it took me 100 days to complete it because it took me 25 days to complete day one.
That's bad.
Well,
What's day one?
They're all the same. Every day is the same. But one of the requirements is that you have to drink a gallon of water.
Oh, and you couldn't drink a gallon of water.
I never drank water before it. And so literally day one, I gave myself water poisoning. And I'm not shitting you, like legit water poisoning.
I remember that.
What do they call that? Like hypoxia or something like that.
I don't remember it taking you 25 days.
It took me 25 days to get the tolerance to be able to drink a gallon of water in one day without getting sick.
So it didn't take you 25 days. It just took you 25 days to get the tolerance to start the program.
To start day one, right?
Okay, gotcha.
And what's funny, like you track it on an app.
I was so confused for a second.
you track it on an app, and then if you fail, because you're not plugging in your progress and you forget to take your progress photo, or you didn't read your 10 pages.
You gotta take a progress photo?
Every
Who cares?
day. Every day.
Does the photo, if you complete the entire program and don't take a photo every day, does it really fucking matter?
It does.
No, it doesn't.
Here's why.
No, it doesn't.
The purpose of the photo is to show you that results are happening, but because you're staring at yourself every day, you don't see the results. Because all you do is remember what you looked like yesterday. Yeah,
so if you did 75 hard and didn't take a photo, that means that you had more mental fortitude than the 75 hard took, because they're using the photo as inspiration for day-to-day.
No,
come on.
It's not inspiration. It's to show you the progress.
I don't need. If you don't need to see the progress, you've done it without, in spite of it.
If you don't need to see the progress, you're not seeing.
Bullshit.
Okay,
I'm just saying. You don't need to take the photo.
The photo is to show you how far you've come.
Yeah,
because you don't.
Look, I get the reason of the photo. I'm just saying that doesn't make the program harder or less hard. I think it would actually make it less hard not taking the photo. You'd be
amazed. A lot of people fail the program. They get 25 days in and they forget to take a progress photo. That's the like.
Okay, so it's not about the progress. It's about the.
It's about the discipline to achieve all the objectives every day.
See, I knew that you'd get there eventually.
Yeah, so you got a progress photo. You got to read 10 pages
You got to push Mitch a little bit every day.
You got to read 10 pages of a book. You have to do 2 45-minute workouts separate from each other every day. One of them must be outdoors, regardless of the climate and weather.
Well, see, I never make it because I'm not reading 10 pages of a book every day.
Yeah. You got to stick to a diet. They don't specify what diet it is, but you have to stick to a diet.
Cheeseburger every day. I can fucking do that.
0 cheat meals, right? So
if I said I'm eating a cheeseburger every day and then I ate a chicken sandwich, I'd be cheating?
Yeah. And so like my diet was no more than 80 carbs a day.
Are carbs a killer for you?
Well, it's just the diet that I chose at the time.
So like my brother-in-law, like carbs are his enemy.
Yeah.
Like he's yoked. He's strong,
yep.
right? Like he's not yoked anymore, but like he played D2 football and everything. But like he's like, dude, I can't eat carbs.
Yeah.
Like I just can't. That's my enemy.
Yeah. So I was
me,
trying.
I could eat a loaf of bread every day and it wouldn't matter.
I was trying. The initial goal was to stay under 100 carbs, and that was too easy. So I knocked it down to 80, like halfway through the program.
It's not hard enough. Let's make it harder.
Yeah. And basically, I was pushing a keto diet, and I don't like keto. Like I hated it. Keto is.
I mean, like I've heard of keto, but what's a keto diet?
A keto diet is forcing your body into ketosis, where it's burning your own body fat instead of the fat or carbs you're consuming.
So
right?
How do you do that?
You basically greatly restrict your carb intake.
Oh, okay.
To force your body into ketosis, and you can actually measure it by like I'm not a chemist, I can't tell you, but they sell strips that you can pee on, and based off of the color that the strip turns, it will tell you how deep into ketosis you are.
Really?
Yeah, and you're trying to find this perfect balance. If you go too deep into ketosis, you actually get sick. They call it the keto flu, where you are physically ill because you're not consuming enough carbs. So you don't want that. Like you want to be just under
malnutrition at that point.
And I mean, it worked. Like, so I've got this progress photo. Where this was going was I got this progress photo of like day one of 75 hard, and then the final day of 75 hard, which was 100 days later. Day one was,
I get it.
You know, I didn't know I was going to fail, so I take my progress photo in the morning, and I got like a full beard. And I'm like, I got a giant beer belly.
Dude, do you want to know the truth, 100% truth? I had we would talk and message and stuff, and I'd see what you're doing, you're seeing what I'm doing, you know, but I hadn't seen you in person.
Yep.
And when you posted those photos, like, hey, I did this and blah, blah, and that first one, I thought, this guy is fat.
This guy got fat.
What the fuck happened to Mitch?
Yeah.
Janine was like, she literally turned her phone and showed me, and she was like, hey, who do you think this is? And I was like, that's Mitch. I was like, oh my God, he's so fat.
Then do you see the last one though? Day 75?
Yeah.
Which technically, I guess, day 100?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was down to 12.9. So I started at like 210 pounds or something like that.
You were so fat.
And I had no muscle. I was all fat. I finished at 186 pounds and 12.9% body fat.
Yeah.
So, and I have no clue what body fat I started at because I didn't start scanning until like halfway through that whole thing.
Well,
so
the whole point isn't to know your body. You don't care.
Right.
Like that's not the point.
Right. And also it's not a fitness thing. Fitness is a part of it, but it's a mental discipline program.
Yeah, it's a discipline check.
And and the whole purpose of the program is like if you can stick to those objectives for 75 days, there's nothing you can't do. Like one of the objectives is no alcohol. One of the objectives is no cheat meals. So even if I'm limiting myself to 80 carbs a day and I've got room, like I've only eaten 60 carbs today, I can eat a Snickers. No, that's a cheat meal. Like no snacks, no candy. And there's people that'll, I'm counting my macros and I've got room to eat this Rice Krispie treat. That's a fucking cheat meal. Like you're not doing that shit. No cheat meals.
So I don't like sweets. Like I hardly ever eat cookies. So like a cheat meal for me is to like go into the fridge and eat half of a cold steak that's left over, like literally with my hands.
Yeah.
Like that's, I love that.
Yep.
I will eat the shit out of a cold steak.
When I'm hard into my diet now, I enjoy a good cheat meal. But like literally my diet now is chicken and rice. I mean, it's flavorful, but it's so...
First off, no. It's not flavorful.
I mix it with taco seasoning and soy sauce. It's got a lot of flavor.
If I made you chicken marsala and then I said, eat this.
Marsala. Of course.
If I gave you, hey, do you want this chicken marsala with mushrooms that I made from scratch? Or do you want this chicken and rice? You'd be like,
yeah,
okay.
in a fat-laden sauce.
Fuck that chicken and rice. It's actually not that bad for you.
I went out and bought like a huge like chuck roast. I sliced it all up.
Now that's bad for you.
I laid it out. I like laid it out and I just froze it in sheets. So like for meals, I just go and break off like a huge section.
Yeah.
Throw some broccoli, throw some garlic, or
I'll just salt that bitch and eat
beans,
eat
rice,
it flat.
Yep.
I love it, man. What do you want to talk about today, dude?
We got two hot topics.
They're not hot topics, but what do you want to talk about?
So topic one.
I always ask like I don't know what the topics are.
Right.
Hey guys, I know what the topics are.
Topic 1 is, would you rather have 5 years of your life back or $5 million? Topic 2 is, get ready. Hey, if you like what you're hearing on The Void and you want even more info, we just started a mentorship program specifically for trades professionals to start their business or to get their business to an incredibly healthy position. So if you'd like more info, click on the link in the description of this show. So we'll get to topic 2 here in a minute, but topic 1.
5 years, or are you asking me?
Well, so as we've done on some more recent shows here, this spawns from a more popular Facebook post that I made, and it was really interesting to see the results. So I asked on Facebook, would you rather have 5 years of your life back or $5 million? And tons and tons of responses from all people of all different walks of life, right? So I've got friends that are living under paycheck to paycheck, right?
Poverty.
Yeah. And I've got friends that are multi-millionaires.
Yeah.
And I don't
have any friends. I got like fucking 3.
I'm one of his poverty friends.
I got a couple of friends that are verging on the billionaire level.
Look, when you say friends, like if you don't see them more than once a week, they're not your friend.
Facebook friends. Okay. But we engage on each other's shit.
Acquaintances.
Right? Okay. What you call it, whatever.
Well, you got to know because you got to have perspective. I got to know who you're talking to.
Yeah. So it was really interesting to see the responses on this. Most of my poor friends, well, I'm going to say all of my poor friends chose I would rather have $5 million. Okay. All of my very wealthy friends said, you can't buy time back. I want time. I can always make more money. I want 5 more years of my life back. Okay, my middle ground friends, and we're gonna go anywhere from 100,000 in air.
Very interesting conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna go from the people that maybe have a net worth of 100,000 all the way up to close to $1 million. Okay, so that's a big range. It's a giant range of people.
Okay, what about people that are worth over that? Do you consider them your rich friends?
Well, I'm just going off of the
scale. That's
right.
all.
I'm just going off of the sample size of the people that responded to my post.
Okay, gotcha.
So my middle ground friends were split about 50-50. And even people on the upper side of that income range were still choosing money, right? And so it was just a really cool experiment. So the poor people, obviously, they want money, right? That's the only thing on their mind when you're poor. It's, I need more money, right? When you have money, it's, I need more time. I have the money. I can make more money. I've got the skills to make more money, but I want time. And we've said it before on the show that poor people spend money to save time. And no, wait, what is that noise?
It's Austin.
Stop that.
No, I'm not breathing. It's this.
Get off the mic.
Like, listen.
It's Austin. He's rubbing his face on the mic.
Yeah, you're rubbing your face on the mic.
I know you know what you're doing.
I almost got him.
No.
I almost got him.
God damn it.
Sorry,
Austin.
guys.
Get off the mic.
Poor people, I was saying that wrong anyway. Poor people spend time to save money. Wealthy people spend money to save time, right? They're literally buying their time back, right? Prime example, a wealthy person uses a private jet. Why do they use a private jet? Because commercial airliners are a massive time suck. It takes, like, for me to fly to Dallas, it takes 7 hours.
Yeah.
By the time I drive to the airport, go through TSA, get there an hour ahead of time, board the plane, wait for the most God damn, it's 2023 and people can't board a plane in an orderly fashion.
That's because people are getting dumber.
Yeah,
We've talked about that forever.
Yeah.
Don't get me on a tangent about people being idiots.
But what I'm saying is the flight is like 45 minutes. From wheels up to wheels down is nothing.
Yeah, it's like an hour. I think it's an hour.
It still takes me fucking 7 hours.
I know.
By the time I leave my house to the time I walk out of the airport in Dallas,
I know, that's
it would
why
take
you
me 7
drive.
hours. That's why I drive.
And you don't have to rent a car. It takes the same amount of time. I tell people this all the time. It's fucking ridiculous. What is going on?
You see people with a PJ, private jet, and they're literally driving to the airport, walk straight from their car.
Yeah, it takes them 2 hours.
Into the jet, boom, the jet flies just as fast. They walk out and they're done.
Faster.
Probably faster,
yeah.
Right? So They're not doing it as a flex. Now, a lot of people will take photos on it and it comes off as a flex or whatever else. However,
I'd flex on it.
if your time, everybody's got a different value for what their time is worth, right? And if your time is worth $500 an hour, then it's worth it for you to shave 6 hours or 5 hours or 4 hours off your travel time, right? I can work 4 hours longer, and if my time's worth $500 an hour, I'm making $2,000 more, and then I fly the PJ down there. And then I can work 4 hours longer down there and making another $2,000 more, and I can fly the PJ back, right? So now I've made $4,000.
Well, you still lost, but
it depends on what the PJ costs. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
And I'm just using rough numbers, right?
No, I get it.
And they've got some hybrid scenarios. Like you can fly JSX, which is like private jets, but they book them for like 20 people.
Yeah.
And they're 20 strangers, but it's still a private jet.
Yeah.
Right. You can do things like that. But what I'm saying is wealthy people use things like that to buy their time back.
Yeah.
Poor people are scourging Google and, if I book the red-eye flight, I can save $20 on my flight, and I'm going to do that, right? They're spending time to save money. So now they're driving to the airport at 4 a.m. because that flight was $20 cheaper than the 9 a.m. flight.
They're not necessarily flying there because it's $20 cheaper. They're going there at that time because that's what they can afford sometimes.
Sometimes, right?
Not necessarily that they're viewing it as I'm saving that money. It's if I don't do this, I can't go at all. Now,
let's bring this into a more real topic. Oil changes, right? I used to do all my own oil changes. It made sense. I can go buy all the shit for $45. I can jack my car up. I can do it. No big deal, right? Well, Jiffy Lube will do it for $99. So
I think it's like $125 now.
Well, it depends. It depends on if you're needing a high capacity oil or the high end oil or whatever, right?
It's called full synthetic, but yes, okay.
So
what happened to you, man?
But what I'm saying, well, then I take one of my work trucks in there and it's like $160.
Yeah.
Because it's both full synthetic and high capacity.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I'm saying is poor people change their own oil because they're saving $100. Rich people realize, and I want to say rich is a wrong term. Wealthy people realize that at a certain point, I'm no longer saving money changing my own oil. I would much rather drive into Jiffy Lube, have it done in 20 minutes. I can't even go buy oil and come back to my house in 20 minutes. So I can drive into Jiffy Lube and in 20 minutes it's done. And that frees me up for that extra hour to go make more money in the plumbing company, right? So there's a crossover point there. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't like there are some people that still stick to the old ways of doing things. I don't care how much money I make. I'm always changing my own oil. That's a fucking racket and blah, blah, blah. Well, if you're in a plumbing company and you're charging $350 an hour, like I'm not, that's not what we charge. A lot of companies charge that, right? So if you're in a plumbing company and you're charging $350 an hour, it's actually more profitable for you to go spend that hour in a customer's home and make $350 than it is for you to spend that hour. That oil change just cost you $350, unless your schedule was empty and you had the room.
Yeah.
So
should I jump in here?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
Of course we are. Don't talk. What are you doing?
Is it an emergency?
No, she just came to see you.
Okay. Pull up a chair.
I change my own oil.
Right.
Still to this day.
Well, you may have the time.
I have the time.
Right.
But I do it because I like it.
So yes.
So I love the fact that the numbers wise. So I went this weekend to O'Reilly's and I spent $235, and I bought enough shit to do Janine's car twice, the truck once, and the Camaro twice.
Right. So five oil changes
for $235.
Yep.
Okay. That's cheap. That's super cheap.
That's $40-$50 an oil change.
Super cheap, right?
Yep.
But I like doing it.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like I like knowing that it's done right. Like I had a friend one time go to Valvoline and they didn't put his engine plug back in and he left and shelled a motor and literally for 8 months had to battle
Had to fight them. And
all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
I do it because I like it.
Yep.
I have money. I can go do it.
Right.
What I don't like doing is I don't like spending a lot of money on stuff that I know I can do for myself if there's no value there.
Correct.
It is very hard for me, and I'm going to argue against you here just to be devil's advocate. Just because you go have that oil changed and it doesn't take you as much time doesn't necessarily mean that you're automatically going to gain an hour to go to a customer's home and work.
Yeah, it depends on how busy your schedule is.
It 100% does, and it also depends on what you are and where you are. If you're a one-man shop and you're so busy that you can't even freaking eat lunch, yes.
Pay for the oil change.
Pay for the oil change, because guess what? You can eat lunch at the oil change.
Yeah.
Like, hey, guys.
Hit the drive-thru, pull in there, and eat your cheeseburger.
Or just get in there and be like, hey, I'm walking down the road. Yeah. I'll be right back. If it gets done, pull it the fuck out, okay? Because I got to eat.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense to me, right?
Yeah.
I like the value of doing it myself.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say you should do either or.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I get both sides of it.
Right.
As far as and I'll just jump back onto the 5 years or $5 million. This is, like, I wouldn't think, so I think it really depends on how old you are. I think that question 100% depends on income and how old you are, and it's 50% each way.
Totally.
If you're
100%, and there's no wrong answer to it either.
No, if you're 87, you're taking the 5 years.
Yeah.
Every time.
Every time.
You're like, oh man, I can go. I'm going to live 5 more years longer right now and see my grandkids and great-grand. Yeah, you're taking the 5 years every time. Even if you were dirt poor broke at 87,
you still want the time.
I'm still breathing.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
And if you're 40 with $100 million in the bank, you ain't taking the money. No. You're taking the time.
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah. Increase my net worth by 5%.
I would say,
or get 5 more years on my life. I think I'll take the 5 years. Right.
And the whole question is also, like, when do the 5 years come? Is it right now?
Well, that's the,
or is it the end?
So that's the interesting thing.
Do I get 5 more years? Like, are you telling me that I can go back and live from 20 to 25 again? Or is it at the end of my life, I get 5 more years? That's
the interesting thing. The question doesn't specify. And so people clarify where they feel the 5 years are in their answer, right?
Yeah.
Some people were like, oh yeah, I got, I had a fucked up last 5 years. I'd go back and do that all over again every time, right? Some people assumed that you have today's knowledge 5 years ago. Now imagine.
So if you're, so I'm going to be 42 on Saturday.
Right. I
don't have that much more knowledge now than I had 5 years ago.
Yeah, you do.
Do I?
Yeah. Here's why. Right now, it is August. It's September of 2023.
Yeah.
So this would put you going back to September of 2018.
Yeah, I can do fucking math, bro.
Okay.
I could
go back to 2018. I could tell
my mom, say, Mom, you have to take the COVID vaccine.
There you go.
I told her that the first time.
Well, I know.
What is she? We're gonna get so off here. Is she gonna believe that I'm from the future? Like, Mom,
I'm just saying.
Look, Mom, I'm from 5 years in the future.
Outside of that,
look at me and say that I'm crazy and still not take that vaccine. Like, I know that that's what she would do.
Outside of that, you could invest in Zoom.
I don't care about that.
You could invest in Pfizer.
If I invested in Zoom, you can only invest the money that you would have had at that point.
Correct.
So at 2018, I may have only had $25,000 to invest. It wouldn't have made me $5 million.
It would not have. But that's just one example.
The real theory that I want to challenge here is, so depending on your age, like right now at 42, I would take the $5 million. Like, and you know me, like I've got some, I'm not rich, I would take the $5 million. Because if I go back in time with the knowledge that I have and change a bunch of shit up and the butterfly effect comes into play and I screw something up royally, I'm not at the position I am right now.
Right.
But if I take the $5 million, I'm in my same mindset right now, but I have $5 million more dollars.
Right.
And my daughter's the same as she is right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So those were some of the more interesting answers were the people that used... Some of the people explain their answers to, I'll take the $5 million because now I can retire 5 years sooner. I don't need the 5 more years on my lifespan. I need 5 more years to enjoy.
Yeah.
Right. So they're creating their own hybrid scenario where I can retire 5 years sooner at least.
Well, first off, if you are so like me right now, if I had $5 million, I could invest that $5 million and retire right now. Mm-hmm. Because I'm set up for later. Mm-hmm. So that, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So $5 million even at 5% makes me enough money that I could retire right now.
Right.
And I still am in the same mindset and the same position I am right now.
Yep.
You know, obviously, like initially I thought of it as, and then I thought about it for a while after I saw your post, was like, okay, is that 5 years at the end? Like that's the immediate thing. And I thought, fuck that.
Right.
My grandpa lived to 95. In the last 5 years, he was like, fuck this.
Right.
You know,
you wouldn't want to string that out another 5.
Yeah, he was trying to get out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so
and that's
your
where
prime right now, you have $5 million. You're like, oh shit, what am I doing? Well,
right.
First thing I'm doing is paying my house off. Second thing I'm doing is buying a Ferrari. Next thing I'm doing is buying a ranch to hunt elk at because my buddy won't fucking book any elk hunts. Then I'm getting a beach house so I can go fucking deep sea fishing and take all my friends with them, which I only have 3. So you 3 are okay. Here we go.
Well, you are out of money.
Yeah, that's only 1, 2, 3. No, I still have 5 left. Because I still have my money.
Right.
I'm kidding.
All your
$5 million.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
it was just an interesting social experiment because there's no right or wrong answer.
It's very interesting to find out how people think and what people find as important.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if you're dirt poor, you're obviously taking the money.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, so say I could go back in time 5 years. Do I want to relive being broke?
Right.
No.
Right.
I'm taking the money.
Right. And it kind of plays on the whole thing of like if you could go back to the day you graduated high school with the knowledge you have today, would you? Or would you take 10 million right now? You know?
I would oh man, that's another question entirely. Like cuz if I could go back to being 18 and know what I know now,
right,
dude, I'd be slaying so much ass. I mean, I'd have 18 STDs,
which,
and it would,
by the way,
be any better. I couldn't.
Did you see the pictures from over the weekend?
No.
So Mason went to his first homecoming.
Yeah, I saw him.
Man, I don't know whether to be like, I'm happy for Mason.
Or jealous.
But no, I'm not jealous. God, that's pervy to be jealous.
No, I mean that you're not young anymore.
So Mason's got a girlfriend, and
you took it completely wrong.
He goes, he asked her to homecoming was this last weekend, and he's telling me, he's like, none of her friends have dates, and so they're all just going solo.
Take them all, bro.
Well, I didn't realize, so we went to his girlfriend's house to drop him off and
take some pictures,
nice, do all the things. He's the only dude, and there's like 7 girls there. And they like staged pictures of him sitting in the middle of all these girls.
Did
and
you take him to the side like, look, son,
and I'm like,
this is the greatest moment of your life right now. You don't even fucking know what's about to happen.
Well, what's really funny is, so they all rode in a minivan to go there. Well, there wasn't any room for Mason in the minivan. So we had to take Mason, right? And it's only like a 4-minute drive from where their house was to the school.
You should have came over and got the Camaro. I'd have let you take it. No,
well, I mean, maybe later when he's driving or something, right?
Yeah, hopefully I have a Ferrari by then.
But
he can take it. God, I hope so.
Anyway, so I'm like driving him, and I'm like, and I've been asking him this for like a week.
Is it just you and him in the car?
Me and him and Danielle.
Oh, see, that's the problem. You can't have Danielle in the car.
Even before that, like he and I were driving around before that, just me and him, and I'm like, hey, I know you got, obviously homecomings tonight. I'm driving you around wherever you need to go. If there's some parties, if you go to homecoming and you find out there's some parties you want to go to, let me know. And he's like, Dad, I'm not going to parties. And I'm like, dude, this is like there's gonna be fun parties to go to. Like this isn't like I'm baiting you to get in trouble. Like I'm telling you, I will drive you wherever you need to go.
Yeah.
But
then you'd have the talk like, don't do anything stupid.
Well, yeah, we would have that, but even then, I mean, he's a high schooler. He's going to do what he's going to live the high school life, right?
Yeah, but you can tell him to live the high school life and try to be aware of your surroundings and not be a complete jackass.
Right. He didn't want to do any parties, none at all.
See, this is the problem with the kids these days.
I know.
It makes you feel good as a parent, but like as a as a male of a male that you're like, this is my boy. He's going to be like me. You're like, man,
no,
like almost
this is social media. Like we snuck out, we went to parties because that was the only way we could hang out with our friends. Now they have social media. They can literally track the whereabouts of their friends on Snapchat 24/7.
Yeah. It's so weird, man.
Yeah. I mean, he'll be like, I wonder where my buddy's going. Oh, he's going 80 miles an hour down I-70 in middle of Kansas right now.
Well, it's just
like they even know what speed they're going.
Well, I don't understand and I know it's because I'm ignorant, right? Like I don't, like the dopamine rush was getting out of the house.
Yeah.
And then going to someone's house that had no parents there. And you weren't even doing anything bad.
No.
But you just were like, man, I'm with my friends.
It's freedom.
Yeah. It's just freedom.
Yeah.
There's no freedom.
I know. And
in your house on the,
I'm encouraging him to go to parties and he's like, Dad, I'm not going.
I don't understand, dude. It's
weird.
Just so crazy. It's just so fucking weird to me.
Yeah.
Like, even now I'm thinking like, man, I wish I could get out of the house. Like I'm looking around, like Janine's like,
no, I don't live that far away.
I don't want to come over here.
I got a cool bar in the basement.
Yeah, your kid's playing Xbox in the corner. That's not exciting to me. Like, I want to see a chick fight. You know what I mean? I want to see one drunk girl punch another drunk girl in the face.
There you go.
You know what I mean? It's just like man, I got to get out of the house. I'm looking around. Layla's in the other room. Janine's reading her book. I'm like, man, I just got to sneak the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I want to, you know what I mean? I want to go do stuff and have fun and, be with people and do things. And it's like, these kids now are just like, nope, I'm good. Right?
It'll circle back. Everything's a cycle. It'll come back.
I know it will, but it's like, I just can't wrap my mind around it.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I just don't get it.
Gone are the days of pushing your car out of the driveway so your parents don't hear it start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah. It's like you can't sneak out of high school and go out and jumpstart your buddy's Mustang and then park it in the other parking lot.
Yeah.
Like you just can't do that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's just, yeah.
It's just part of it.
Yeah. You can't open the slider all real slow.
Yeah, you can't botch when we were young, my parents got an alarm on the house to keep us in.
Yeah, because we would go to Mitch's house. We got this from your brother, by the way.
Yeah.
And we'd open the sliding glass door, and you could go out and
we'd sneak out
and TP and push boats in Lakewood out, or go see chicks, or go.
Well,
all kinds of just
where all that
chaos.
started. So you got the little door sensors, right? You got the sender and the receiver on the door.
Yeah, they got the so when it breaks the connection, it's like a little laser breaks the connection, alarm goes off.
Yeah, so we hacked it and we pulled.
There was no we. This was all Mitch.
Yeah. So basically, it's this receiver.
Mitch was way
mounted on the door jamb.
He was smarter then. He's smarter now.
It's a receiver mounted on the door jamb, and then it's a little magnet that you mount on the door. Mm-hmm. And so whenever the magnet pulls away from the receiver, the alarm would go off.
Yeah.
Well, I opened everything up, and I stuck the magnet inside the receiver. so no matter how much you open the door, the receiver thought the door was closed.
Did you ever tell your dad?
No.
You should. To let me, hey, Dad.
Well, hey, maybe he'll listen to this and he'll learn.
Does he listen to the podcast?
We would sneak out. I don't know. I think they do. I know she watches on YouTube because she commented on one of the videos, and I'm like, oh, shit, my mom listens to our podcast.
Remember that time
Sorry, Mom. I cuss.
Remember that time your dad caught me drinking his Oktoberfest?
Yep.
And he wasn't mad that I drank his beer. He was mad that I drank his special beer.
Yeah. It was the Oktoberfest.
Yeah, so I brought him a 6-pack, and I was like, Vic, I'm sorry.
Here you go.
Like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
he wasn't mad about the beer. He was just like, dude, that was like, it comes around once a year. That's my special beer.
That was my stash.
And like, I felt...
And it was like in December when you drank it.
Yeah,
it was like the holdover.
Bad. I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
So the next year I got him a 6er, and I think I drank one. It was only
it's
one.
the holiday 5-pack.
I don't remember what it was, but yeah, he was like, you could tell like his feelings were hurt. Like he was crushed. Like, dude, that's my special beer.
One of the funniest moments sneaking out was we snuck out of my parents' house, and
I don't know how we got on this topic.
We lived in a neighborhood, and that neighborhood was on a lake, and there were 2 marinas on the lake. And these had like scrolling 4-digit lock combinations to get onto each of the docks.
Yeah, you couldn't just walk onto the dock. They had locking gates.
Yeah. Well, we found out that the locking gates were in numerical order. So like dock A was 2020 to get into dock A. Dock B was 2021.
First off, there was no we. Mitch like literally went down there and was like trying to
figure it out one day. Yeah.
And then figured it out. He's by himself.
Yeah.
Like breaking and entering.
Learn. Yeah.
He comes back and he's like, "Hey, dude."
Well, if you're gonna break and enter, do it solo.
He's like, guess what I found out?
Yeah.
And I was like, what? He's like, I found out all the combinations.
All the
all the boats.
I figured out
what
2
are
of
we doing?
Yeah.
My first thing was, are we gonna ride boats around? He's like, no, you idiot, we're not riding boats. Although I think you did that. We did that.
We did that once. We commandeered a boat one time. Somebody left their keys in it, and that was foolish of them.
Around, drank some beer.
So, but then we would, as a prank, we're in high school and middle school. So we go unlock all of the docks at once, and we had like 4 or 5 guys with us, and everybody went to one dock, and we started untying boats and pushing them out into the middle of the lake. And we did this for like 45 minutes, and we're just pushing and pushing and pushing.
There's no wind. The boats are like, dude, they're out there.
They're out there,
they're
right?
Like 200 yards out in the middle of this lake.
And it didn't get funny until all of a sudden, like, it's quiet, right? It's whisper quiet. All of a sudden you'd hear this dong, and those are 2 boats bumping into each other. And so we're like, oh my God. So we're laughing our asses off. Well, finally somebody had called the neighborhood patrol.
Yeah.
And
they had their own patrol in the neighborhood.
Here they come over the hill with their little, fake cop lights on.
Yeah.
And so we're having to run from the end of the docks. We're having to run at them.
We got to go.
And so
we got to go right now.
They chase us on foot all the way back to my parents' house, and like literally flashlight beams were at our feet the entire time. Somehow
was that the one time that we were running and we both dove into a yard, and then like the automatic lights came on and lit up the whole yard, and we're like, shit. I'm laying like a dead body.
We think we're hiding in the shadows.
Yeah, we're hiding in the shadow of this pine tree, and like these lights come on, and oh shit.
Yeah. And so somehow we get enough distance on him where we dive into my parents' basement, close the door, and jump over the couch. And not 30 seconds later, all the lights are out in the basement, and here comes flashlights panning across my parents' basement. But they weren't sure we were in there, so they never rang the doorbell, and we got away scot-free.
We did stuff like that all the time.
Yeah.
It was, first off, the patrolmen were like 28-year-old fat guys that couldn't make the academy.
Yeah.
So it was really fun to fuck with them.
Yeah.
Like they were super out of shape.
You can always outrun a guy that couldn't make the academy.
Yeah. We were all between 16 and 18 and could fucking flat run.
Yeah.
Like at 18, you could run. Even if you're out of shape, you can run.
Yeah.
Like these guys you can hear them.
Please stop. Stop. Please. My squad car's way back there.
He's like calculating, like, I got to walk all this back.
Yeah.
It's just, what would have been the smart thing was to have someone stay, and then they leave, and then they take the patrol car, and then
steal the cop car.
Yeah, and just drive it around for a while, cut some donuts, and then push it into the lake. That's probably what we should have done. That would have been good.
Pushing boats into the lake is fairly minor property. Like no damage has occurred.
It's not
right?
Lake of the Ozarks. Like you can swim across it. It's not that far. Yeah. Like it's not. It's not that big.
Those are times that my son won't ever experience because he's not going to sneak out of the house. Okay, why would he? Like he's just going to get on his
and that's
Snapchats.
what I was meaning earlier. Like it's like you're almost sad that they're not being disobedient.
I know.
It's so weird.
Like I so look forward to grounding you for sneaking out, and now you're not.
Yeah, thanks a lot, shithead.
And your internet.
I'm grounding you for not doing something fun.
Right,
that's the new grounding.
It almost makes me want to turn his internet off at 8 p.m. so that he has to sneak out to see his friends.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's Mitch and I.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
Yeah,
it's just So I was talking to a lady today. This is so weird. We were talking about it. We were literally talking about, her and I are the same age, and we were talking about just being young and being inquisitive and doing things and this and that. Like the first phones that anyone had were like piece of shit flip phones that you couldn't even text on them.
Right.
Like texting wasn't even a thing.
Right.
Right. And you just lived this life. And now it's like, there's no living anymore.
Yeah.
Like there's just no sense of adventure or no excitement.
Yeah.
It's just like, what
So
fucking happened?
Another funny story.
We were talking about outlawing. Well, we're talking about outlawing smartphones and the internet on your phone, which, to be honest, like I'm a super freedom, let me do whatever I want kind of guy. But to be honest, we should probably shut all that shit down.
You don't think it's a good move for society?
No, I don't think it's a good move for society.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not my place, but I mean, like we were talking about it because my daughter's 10, she wants a phone, and I'm like, no.
Yep.
And she's like, well, when
for
can
us,
I have
the rule's 13 in our house.
When can I have a phone? And I'm like, maybe when you start driving, you can have a phone. I'm like, I'm not. So all my friends have phones. I don't give a fuck that your friends have phones.
Have all your friends jumped off a bridge? When do you?
And guess what? Half your friends are going to be retarded in 3 years. Like, what do you? you can't say that to them, but
Right,
you
right.
know it's going to happen.
Yeah. For us, it was 13 because at 13, they're doing enough crazy activities out of the house all the time where you do need to be in contact with them.
You say that. Mason's really responsible. Grant,
Who knows?
who knows what he's going to be looking at on that phone, bro?
Oh, yeah. Well, it is what it is.
It's not it is what it is. It's good luck.
My
You
conspiracy,
got a parent. I don't know what to tell you. It's going to be a train wreck. Don't call me.
my conspiracy theory is Mason and Grant are actually sneaking out, but they're so good at hiding it. Like, yeah, we're just gonna stay in. Yeah, we got him. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
You
Dad
know
sleeps
what?
like a rock.
That could be 100% true.
It could be.
I hope it is.
And more power to them.
Yeah.
I fucking hope it is.
I've abdicated for years that if they would just team up, they could get away with so much shit. So maybe this is them teaming up.
They're just playing the entrance
more
card.
power to them.
Yeah, it's 8 p.m.
Dad's a dipshit.
Right.
There's like a whole there's like people like that he doesn't know are living in his basement.
Yeah, and I shouldn't say that. Like if one of your boys called me at like midnight and was like, "Hey Dave,
I need help.
I'd fucking
Right.
I'm on my way, bro.
Right.
I'm like, where fucking where are you at?
Right.
I'm on my way. I wouldn't even call you. I just go there first and then find out what was going on.
Thankfully, I have the relationship with them where they know they could do that with me. Right.
Yeah.
So
like at that moment, no consequences. Right?
Yeah.
Like
let's just
we got to figure out what's up.
Do what's right. Right.
We'll figure it out later.
And they've heard from me 1,000 times over that there's no problem you can get yourself in that I can't fix. So when you're in a problem, call me. Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh,
I mean,
I wonder if Mason would buy a kilo of Coke for me.
Yeah, that's not drug trafficking and that's not murder. Okay.
Oh, well, you're not fun. Live a little bit.
If he calls me and he's like, Dad, we need a shovel and a rug and a tarp. I'm like, okay, this might be a problem I can't fix.
No, you just drive to Dave's house.
Yeah. You've got a stockpile of shovels, rugs, and tarps.
I just no comment.
There's no questions at Dave's.
Yeah.
there's a nice little hole that you can fall into in his back.
There's a
backyard
lot of
back
holes
there.
out there. No one.
So
You know what? Let's not talk about it.
Quick-
We may need those holes later.
quick funny story about my youngest kid. 13 years ago, 14 years ago, Facebook used to offer this thing where you could pay Facebook to print all of the pictures that you posted on Facebook that year. And they would print them and put them in a hardcover book for you. And
I like where this is going.
so Danielle did it for like 2 years. We have 2 books downstairs, which was all the photos she shared on Facebook for a year.
Okay, so
And-
not the photos the kids took. Photos she took.
She took and she posted on Facebook.
Okay.
Right?
Did she
and,
take
and so
your
it's a way
DPs
to
out?
like, well, those weren't in there 13
Okay.
years ago.
I'm just
And this isn't Facebook Messenger. This is public Facebook.
Okay, relax. I'm just trying to get aware of the situation.
So Grant gets this wild hair up his ass last weekend, and he starts thumbing through the books. And Grant's 12, right?
Is he 12 now?
Yeah, just turned
I'll
12
say
2
he
weeks
just
ago.
had a birthday, yeah.
Yep. So he starts thumbing through the books, and he's like looking at picture like she's pregnant with him in these pictures. And here's Mason as a 1-year-old in these pictures.
She
and
wasn't like in her bathroom showing the shelves or anything crazy. Was
No,
she?
we're like
Okay.
standing in Mason's nursery and shit like that.
Oh, okay, got it.
And
When you're living in your little house.
there's
Okay.
And there's a photo that she took of her standing in the bathroom mirror because this was 13 years ago. Phones didn't have front facing cameras.
Yeah.
So a selfie was taking a picture of yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And so
or
she's
flipped around and it was always messed up.
Yeah,
'Cause
it was
you
always
never
messed
got it
up.
quite
Take
right.
20 of them.
right.
Ah.
And this was like on a 1 megapixel camera.
Yeah,
right?
looks like shit.
And so she's got her phone and she's taking it's like she's pregnant with Grant, and so she's taking like progress photos and
Yeah.
posting them on Facebook. And so she's like showing her belly or whatever. Grant starts chuckling and he walks over to Danielle and flops the book on her lap, and he's like, "Look at you with the flip phone." He's just beside himself that she had a flip phone, and she was like, "That was high class back then. That was like the best thing ever." You
Look
know?
at you with the. I thought you were gonna say, "Look at you, you're so fat."
No, this was like 2010, right?
Oh shit!
So he's
my
just
God,
beside
bro.
himself that she had a flip phone. but these are also the same kids that are like, "Mom and Dad, what was it like back in last century?" Like they refer,
Yeah.
back in the 1900s.
Yeah, when it was 1999, I was 18 and I was just banging hot chicks. Yeah, I remember it.
Last
What do you wanna
century.
hear about?
Yeah. So, all right. Topic 2. We've rambled enough. Topic 2. Topic 2 is get ready.
Starting to get a little out of control.
I don't know where to put that ad down.
Yeah.
I don't know. Good luck, Austin.
Topic 2 is get ready. And where this is heading is we're coming into some rough times.
If you're not there already, wake up.
Right. If you haven't seen that already, it's coming. Literally this last week, the 30-year fixed mortgage rate went above 6%. It hasn't been above 6% since 2008. Now, I don't need to remind you what happened in 2008, but if you're young, it was the big crash of the housing market in 2008.
First off, if you were 25,
well,
they need to be reminded.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Hey, I'm 30.
They claim this rate is to fight the offset of inflation and all that stuff,
Well,
and maybe it will. Like I can see where it might.
The problem is the only tool the Fed has is to hike rates,
Right.
to slow spending. That's the only thing. The real problem with this is completely off of this topic. The problem is you can't. When you hike the rate, you cannot slow inflation on goods that you need, like food,
Right.
and gas,
Right.
and other energies and things like that. You can only slow down the market of cars, home equity loans, personal finance loans, home loan, things like that.
Right.
And when you slow those things down, they slow other things down. What happens when the interest rate goes up, Mitch? What's the first thing to die? New construction.
Right.
New construction. Like I still do, we've talked about it on here. I still do some custom homes for friends of mine and things like that. Dude, they're almost nil.
Right.
Like no subdivisions, no new subdivisions have gone in our area. Like they're going in, but at a rate of like 10% of what they were 5 years ago. And so even if the rate were to drop, the home market would still be slow because those subdivisions would fill instantly, and it takes time to get new ones rolling on board.
Right.
So like new construction is going to be slow for a while.
Yeah.
It's going to be slow for 3 years.
Right.
That's how it's going to be. So if you're in business and you're in the new construction market, you have to diversify. We talked to the guys in Tradewinds about it. Look, you've got to branch out into service. You've got to branch out into remodel. That is the one good thing about new construction slowing down is remodel picks up.
Right.
Because people are like, oh, well, we have to have a bigger home, but we can't find one or we can't afford one because we're not giving up our 2.49% interest rate to get one that's 7% for a house that costs us another $150,000. I can remodel for less.
Right.
So remodel work's going to go up.
Right.
How do you do that? You be prepared, right? What we talked about today, and I'll just steal some of your points. You have to cut spending. In your business. You have to be smart. You can't spend $30,000 a month on marketing because first off, there may be no one to market to.
Right.
If you're spending your market on new construction, you cannot be, like you said today, you can't be buying new shirts and hats for everybody just because. You can only buy them if you really actually have to have them.
Right.
You can't buy a truck because you want to have one in reserve just to have one because you're going to need that cash flow later.
You can't spend a bunch of money on useless inventory that's going to sit in your shop and not be used.
Yeah, that's a big thing in Tradewinds right now.
Right.
We've been talking to the guys about, they've been posting in the group like, hey, how do you guys handle inventory?
Yeah. How much are you stocking? How much are you keeping in your shop? The absolute minimum.
The answer for every trade is the minimum amount necessary to complete the business that you're in.
That day.
Yeah.
The minimum amount necessary to complete daily business.
Yeah.
Don't buy a month's worth of inventory because all you're doing is helping your supply house out.
Yeah. Now listen, if you have a contract for 12 water heaters next month in a apartment complex, that's one thing. But that's not inventory. You're just preparing for the next job.
And how you handle that is you tell your supplier, I have 12 water heater installs coming up, get them to you. You don't pay for them until you pick them up from the supplier.
That's right.
So you get the supplier to get them to them, and then the day of the install or the day before the install, you go pick them up and go install them.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yes.
Like you don't go buy them from the supplier and put them in your shop 2 months ahead of the install.
Yeah.
That's a fucking waste of money.
Yeah. You're not paying to store them. You don't have to pay to store them. That's what your supplier's for. That's why they have warehouses.
Yeah.
That's why you pay them. That's why they get the markup, because they're holding the overhead, not you.
Right. And so many small businesses get this wrong. Your supplier is making money off selling you material and holding it for you. Most people forget the holding it for you part.
Right.
So your supplier's job is not to give you material way before you need it. Your supplier's job is to give you material as you need it. And that's why they get to make the extra money on it, right?
Yeah. And don't feel, I know a lot of salesmen will be like, well, we don't have the room to hold it. We'd rather deliver it. We'd rather
bullshit.
Blah, blah, blah.
Figure it out.
It's because they're trying to work you to make warehouse space for themselves and make that sale, and have you hold on to it.
And you notice,
don't cave to their bullshit.
And you notice most of those calls come in towards the end of the month because they're trying to hit some bullshit monthly quota.
That's right.
If they can get you to pick up the water 100%. Heater on the 29th instead of on the 2nd, well, their sales just went up for that month prior.
Yeah, and that's what we talk about when we talk about cash flow.
Yeah.
Like how to enhance your cash flow month to month.
Yeah.
Don't be holding inventory you don't need.
Let me give you,
aren't about to use in the next week.
Let me give you a prime example happening in our business right now. We are under contract with a local municipality to do millions of dollars in sump pump installations.
Do you think that you got
millions?
Do you think you got any of that sales from the podcast?
No.
Okay.
You're out.
Just checking.
Millions of dollars in sump pump sales. How often am I buying them? I'm buying them once a week, right? I'm literally sending them an email and saying, I need these to my shop ASAP. And it's literally the next week's worth of installs, right?
1 week out, 2 weeks out.
1 week out. Not even 2 weeks out, 1 week out. And I mean, I'm not shitting you. So my supplier's Ferguson. We've talked about it before on the show. They've been dropping the ball a little bit on me. And I'm not knocking Ferguson, right? They're a big corporate entity. They've got other things going on and other things at play and everything else. But I had to go back to my rep that I deal with at Ferguson and remind them, like, not only this program, but my business as a whole, like, you guys have been dropping the ball, and you've been struggling on deliveries. You've been struggling meeting our time demands. You've been struggling meeting our quantity demands. You're not the only supplier in town. So if you can't meet these demands, there's plenty of other people in town that will, right? And that's not me being a hard ass. That's not anything.
I got to have them. What do you want from me?
And that's me so far. For 3 years, I've had a relationship with Ferguson. I'm not going to burn that bridge at the drop of a hat. Like, I owe them the decency to go back and say, fix your shit, right?
Yeah.
So, and they've responded well to that conversation and everything else. Like, I have no doubt they're going to get it fixed. But I'm, $1 million contract, multi-million-dollar contract, and I'm still buying sump pumps, 5 days at a time. 5 at a time. That's it.
Yeah.
So
there's no reason to.
Other things that have happened this month. So 30-year mortgage rates are the highest they've been since 2008. Okay. Other things that have happened this month. On September 1st, the student loan forgiveness program stopped, which means everybody that had a student loan that was eligible to not make payments over that student loan has to start making payments in October.
Yeah.
Okay. We're talking billions of dollars with a B.
Yeah.
These are your customers that have not had to pay student loans for several years due to COVID. Now all of a sudden have to start resuming payments.
Yeah. So you're essentially pulling money out of the market.
That is money out of the market that's not only going to affect the home services business, it's going to affect the automotive industry, it's going to affect groceries, it's going to affect everything, right?
It's going to affect everything. This is a little off topic. The only good thing is it's instead of them, like, they've been talking about not raising the rate, and I think it's partly because of this, because literally money's going to come out of the market without them having to do anything.
Right.
And so, Econ 101 is supply and demand, right?
Right.
Well, if there's less demand because people don't have money, supply goes down, money goes down.
Right.
The price of products goes down.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, it could be a good thing in the long run for the economy. The bad thing for short term is people have less money to spend in everything they do. Right. Instead of, like you were saying today, and I know I'm robbing a lot of your stuff. You were saying, like, you know, you go to a house. I don't know if you said this specifically, but like if someone has a leaking toilet, instead of replacing that toilet like they want to do because they want a handicapped, maybe they want
a taller toilet, right?
Yeah, maybe they just have the fluid master replaced,
right?
And instead of you having an $800 ticket, you've got $150. I don't know what you charge. $150 ticket,
right?
You know, so it's not like the sales won't be there because the demand for repairs is going to be the same. Like, that's not going to drop off,
right?
But the average sales is going to go down.
Your average sale might go down. Your average consumer might be more inclined to try to do the repair themselves.
Yeah, a little DIY.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what happens with this? We're not saying this to scare anybody. What we're saying, the reason we're saying this is to prepare everybody, right? No different than when COVID came in, it cleansed the market of a bunch of very fragile businesses that were weeks away from bankruptcy before COVID, right? There were a lot of businesses out there that if they had zero revenue for 2 weeks, they were going bankrupt.
Yeah.
COVID made that happen. It sped up that inevitable thing, right? Things like this will kill a lot of businesses because these businesses are very unhealthy.
It takes out, you know, what do they call that? Natural selection.
Yeah.
Where it literally,
it thins the herd.
If they're about to go out, they go out.
Right.
And what did I say today? We were talking about in 08. Mm-hmm. Like in 08, businesses that were healthy in the service industry grew. Yep. Or at least didn't go down. They stayed flat.
Maintained.
Because they were able to pick up work even though it was... they were able to pick up new work even though it wasn't more work because other companies had folded.
Right.
You know, and it allowed you to gain new customers. Yeah. Because you were healthy and in a good position. And that's what the episode of this podcast is about, right? Like, right. You have to be able to prepare yourself for what's going to happen and be in a healthy position. Yep. So that if it does come, I shouldn't say if, because it's going to come. It's here already in a lot of places. To be able to withstand that wave. Yep. Right? Yeah.
So the key things to do right now, if you're listening to this show.
If you're a small business owner.
And
if you're just doing it for fun.
That's who listens to our show, right?
Listen up to. So I know a lot of people that aren't business owners and they just like to hear you talk.
Hear us ramble.
No, just you, not me. Just you.
Whatever. So where you need to be focusing right now, you need to get profitable, right? If you're barely towing the line and you're living month to month or paycheck to paycheck, even though you're a business owner, you need to get profitable. Because if you're living paycheck to paycheck right now as a business owner, you're fucked when things start thinning down here shortly.
Well, right? Let's just talk about it. How do we do that? What are things that guys can do in the short term?
I don't want to be too pitchy. But you need to get with somebody who knows what the hell they're looking at with your profit and loss statement and your balance sheet, and you need to take their advice, right? They're going to tell you to cut spending and raise your prices. Typically, that's not always the case. It just kind of depends. But if you don't have, if you're in that position right now, then you obviously don't have the knowledge to do that on your own. So you need to align yourself with somebody that can walk you through that process for you. Okay. We do that in Tradewinds. And again, I'm not trying to be pitchy. There's plenty of people that do that. Your accountant may be able to do that. If you have a financial strategist, they can do that.
Your accountant for sure.
Right.
And a couple of examples are just like, you know, cut extra spending. Like we were just saying earlier. Yeah. Like don't be
wasting money on marketing if it's not giving you a return.
Well, don't be buying a bunch of shit that you don't need.
Yeah. Examine all of your spending.
Yeah. I need a new gas pipe machine because this one, it's a little rickety when I go. Well, is it cutting the pipe? Yeah. Then fucking who cares? Deal with it.
If you're one of those guys that can't open Facebook without checking out Facebook Marketplace, you need to check your ass right now. Now is not the time to be wasting money on Facebook Marketplace on 17 projects that you're never going to finish.
Fuck you, I've been looking for Ferraris on Marketplace.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Right?
No, but
if you've been wanting to go out and buy the new Tesla, hold off.
Yeah, wasted spending right now is a problem. If you have a truck with 150,000 miles and it's running good, but you're just like, well, it's getting up there, and hang on to that truck. Yeah. And listen, this is the whole thing. This is what pisses me off about vehicles. A guy will have a truck and it's got 150,000 miles on it and it's paid off. And then he's like, well, if the transmission goes out, I got to spend $3,000. Yeah. But if if you buy a new truck, you spent 30.
Yeah.
Spend the $3,000, fix the truck, and keep driving it. Okay.
Put the $3,000 in the bank and just wait for the training to go out.
Yeah, or take the $30,000, put it in the bank, and when the training goes out, you still got 27.
Yeah.
Okay, stop.
Yeah.
All right, don't use that as an excuse to go spend a bunch of money because you want a fucking new truck.
Well, and this is why back, a year and a half ago when we bought all new trucks, I'm really glad I did, because I don't have those worries right now. As the market's getting ready to get super lean, I'm good. I don't have crazy high vehicle repair risks or anything else because our trucks are newer, right? I got tires.
Yeah.
That's really about it.
Yeah, and and this is going to be bad to say, if you've got 5 employees and you have been thinking about getting rid of your shitty one, like, just let
it might be the time.
Let time handle it, because in 3 months from now, when you have no work, it's really easy. You don't have to let him go now, suffer, get back in the field.
Right.
You can just let time take its course.
Yep.
That's what I was meaning earlier by natural selection. Like, things that need to be done will be taken care of.
Yeah.
So try to be healthy. Don't be one of those things that's weak and dies off.
Right.
Be prepared. Be in the right mindset.
All right, so you've newly started your company and you're trying to pinch pennies. However, you don't realize the biggest thing that's hurting you right now is not gathering all of your information into one spot and making it super efficient for you to use. So the answer is Field Pulse. It gets you off of paper tickets. It gets you off of all of that crazy office work at the end of the day and reconciling all that stuff. And it lets you organize everything with ease. It puts it all into the computer. It actually puts it all into the cloud. So it's not even putting it on your computer. And it lets you organize your customers. It lets you organize all of your service calls. Heck, it'll even route you to your service call. And the best part is, even after all of that, you'll probably realize about a 100% growth in your business just in the first year of using Field Pulse. So if you'd like to check out Field Pulse and see what great looks like, click on the link in the description of this show. Another thing you can do is get systems in your business. And the reason why is because systems create efficiency. Right? So you need to have a system for how your guys operate service calls. You need to have a system for how your person that answers the phone, because all of those things start to happen faster when you have systems. A prime example of that, this big sump pump program that we're doing. We showed up yesterday. We showed up to a sump pump install. This is floor break sump pump. We have to jackhammer the floor. We have to dig the hole, install the pit, surround it with gravel, patch the concrete, install the pump, install a new circuit, electrical circuit, dedicated outlet, pipe the pump out onto a splash block, whole thing, right?
Well, if you need a professional, just call me.
Well, we showed up. The customer did not want to wake up till 9. He's a very old man, very, very old. He has a picture of himself with Mickey Mantle. Like,
that's cool as shit.
Yeah, it's cool as shit. This guy's old.
Was he a cool guy too?
Oh yeah, it's totally cool.
I love
Sits
those.
there.
Dude, those are my favorite customers.
He chain smokes in the garage, asking us questions the whole time we're working. Like, badass
Guy's
dude, right?
95, chain smoking.
Yeah.
Knows Mickey Mantle. Like,
Yeah.
what the? Like, how cool can you fucking be?
Right.
Like,
And the
you
picture
can't be
of
cooler than that guy.
The picture of him with Mickey Mantle is he was paired up with him on a golf course.
Oh, like, fuck off.
This isn't like I. This
Like,
isn't like I
cooler.
met Mickey Mantle. It's like I golfed with Mickey Mantle, right? Well, anyway.
Yeah.
So this guy,
Wow.
This guy's like,
I'm
I
so
don't care
jealous
what time
right
you
now.
want it. He's like, I don't care what time you want to get here. My front door's not unlocking until 9 o'clock. So we couldn't get started till 9 a.m.
That's a guy that knows what he wants.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, this is my life and I love it. Don't fuck it up.
So we walk in the front door at 9 a.m. At 11:34 p.m., we are done on the job and pulling out of his driveway. 2 hours and 34 minutes, we did a complete sump pump installation start to finish.
Only 30 minutes later than I'd have got it done.
Oh,
Nice
bullshit.
work.
But what I'm saying is we have a very exacting system that sets our truck up so we have all the tools that we need. We have a very exacting system for how we install the sump pump. It creates efficiency, right?
What does efficiency do? It saves money, right?
Well, it creates profit.
It saves money.
The job pays what it pays, whether it takes me 2 hours and 34 minutes or 10 hours and 34 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So we were able to get that job done in 2 hours and 34 minutes and everybody go off and about their day and make even more money. That job was paying the same amount no matter what, right? So systems will help you get through tough times. Get consistency. Systems help you get consistent, right?
Yeah.
So another thing you can do is get consistent.
They live in tandem.
Right.
Consistency and efficiency live in tandem.
And finally, the last thing that you can do is I'm going to say the second to last thing you can do, get liquid. And what that means is get your money in places where you can turn it into cash quickly. Don't tie your money up into a vehicle payment if you can avoid it right now. Right
now.
If you can pay cash for a vehicle, do it. Okay.
I'm not going to bust your stones over it today.
I financed vehicles a year and a half ago. It was different than it is now, right?
I'm saying your mantra. That's all. I'm not not today. I'm not getting in there.
Now, one of my goals is to get our vehicles paid off, right? However, I want to stay liquid. So liquid for me is having the cash in the bank to pay a vehicle off, but not paying it off because the cash in the bank is worth more right now than removing myself from a vehicle note.
And it's going to be for a while too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So cash in the bank is liquidity.
That's what you're pushing for. I say cash is king all the time.
Right.
And I try to live by that mantra.
Yep. And that doesn't mean you can't spend money and you can't buy things that you want to enjoy, right? Like this next spring, I want to buy a wake surfing boat. However, a couple of months ago when I had this goal, I was like, maybe I'll finance it. Now, I've got to kick my ass into high gear.
That ain't happening.
Because now if I want to buy a wake surfing boat, I need to be liquid, right? So I got to pay cash for the wake surfing boat or put a substantial down payment on it. So I'm in a position to where I can sell it quick if I need to, right?
A little personal advice, never buy a new boat.
Right. Oh, God, no, I'm not buying a new boat. Shit, those things are $250,000.
Is that why you've been calling me hey,
no.
What's the trade wins?
Where are we at?
Where are we at on trade wins? So I'm not writing you any fucking checks for a stupid boat.
The last thing that I'm going to advise you on is if you're listening to the show and you haven't started your business yet, now is the time to do it. And the reason why is in tough times, you need to maintain as much control as possible. And you are in a much better position as a small business owner during tough times than you are as an employee of a large business during tough times. The reason why is as a small business owner, you're in charge of your employment. You can go out and do things to make sure that your paycheck is covered, that your ends are met, that your family is taken care of. As an employee, your employer could literally walk in tomorrow with no warning and wax you, and you have nothing.
Yeah, even if you're one of the best employees, but you're newly hired,
right?
Like you have no longevity there. They may get rid of you because they don't know who you are. Now, if you've been somewhere for 15 years and you're the best guy, obviously you're safe.
Right.
Right. But if you're thinking about going on your own anyway, like Mitch was saying, like if you have been listening to the podcast and are thinking, okay, in 6 months I'm going to stay on that plan. Like in 6 months from now, it will be the best time to start a business since 2008.
You're gonna see a lot of purging.
It will literally be the best time to start.
Yeah.
So if you were thinking about it, don't hold off. If you're getting ready to start this month, go with your plan and start.
Right.
Like literally now is a great time.
Now I want to be very clear here. When we talk about tough times, really what we're talking about is uncertainty. Okay. We're not talking about risk. When I started my business in August of 2020. I was preparing to start my business in January of 2020. COVID wasn't even it was a word that was said, but it wasn't even really talked about a whole lot. So 3 months into preparation to start our business, COVID locked down the nation. And we stayed the course and started our business in August, right? We'd been through the lockdowns. We had coming out of the lockdowns or whatever else. Times were still really fucking uncertain. It wasn't any riskier for me to start my business. It was just uncertain.
Yeah.
Well, I still chose the path of controlling my destiny rather than leaving it up to an employer, right? Because an employer can say, no, I got to stay at home. No, I got to do this. No, I got to do that. No, I mean, we lost this big account because interest rates, went up and shut down the new construction markets. And now I got to lay you off, right? So now your destiny is out of your control. Whereas if you start your own business, you can go find work anywhere else you want. Right? So that's hugely important. The thing about tough times is tough times create, and this is an age-old thing that happens.
An old wise tale.
It's
saying.
It's a saying. Like I didn't create this, right? Tough times create tough men. Tough men create easy times. Easy times create soft men, and soft men create tough times. Well, we got a lot of soft men right now, so we're due for a lot of tough times.
And I think that those tough times started about '08.
Yeah, very could have.
You know,
very well
I mean?
could have.
Everything ebbs and flows, right? Everything goes up and down. So the beginning of the down was '08, and then it kind of came back up, and now it's back down. I think we're in that bottom. But for those of us like what you're saying now, like it's up to us. Well, it's up to the guys from 30 to 50 to build it back up.
Right.
Right.
Well,
like it's our time.
Go back to the beginning of that. Tough times create tough men, right? Well,
World War II, baby.
Here's the interesting thing about it. Tough times don't last forever, but tough men do.
Yeah.
Right? So use these times to get tough. And you're going to be so appreciative when you do. You're going to take the lessons that you've learned during these tough times, and you're going to apply them from here through the end of your career, and you're going to be actually thankful in the end of it that you went through these tough times. Because they're going to teach you, the valleys and then the losses teach you more than mountaintop views ever will. That's exactly what this is, right?
Yeah.
We learn more through the tough times than we do through the victories.
Yeah.
Right?
And what we need to do as, and it's not off topic, but it's just a little more in depth. Like, when one generation is great, like they baby the next generation. They're like, I don't want my kids to have to.
That's the cycle.
Be tough, right?
Tough men create easy times.
Stop that chain of bullshit.
Right.
Like
Don't spank your kids.
My
Be
daughter,
easy on your kids.
My daughter's 10, and I'm tough as shit on her.
Right.
Did I show you the picture of her the other day?
Yeah. Yeah.
I am tough as shit on her because I don't want her to be soft.
Right.
So if all of my generation is letting their kids be soft, and I'm tough on her, and she's tough, when she's with those soft ass crybaby bitches,
yep,
she's gonna be super successful.
Yeah.
So I'm not mean to her, but I'm hard on her.
Right.
And it's my job.
Yep.
And we've got to break the cycle. Like literally what it should be is every generation that has kids, you've got to be tough on those kids.
Yep.
You cannot just let them cruise all the time.
Right.
They're soft. They can't take care of themselves. They don't know what to do. They're lost half the time. And then when their parents die off, they're even more lost.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what the fuck to do because their
Mommy
parents...
and daddy always did it for them.
Yeah, they never trained them to... and not trained them. They never even showed them the right path to take.
Dude...
To overcome, hardship, to overcome hard work, to overcome people telling them that they didn't like them.
Yeah.
Get over it. Stop.
I got a video. I'll probably share it. It's of my younger son, Grant, and this is like 6 years ago.
Insane.
I shared it on Facebook, but this was before your TikToks and your short form videos and everything were out. I'll probably send it to Austin and have him edit it.
Well, hopefully he does something. I'm just kidding, Austin.
It's of a video of my youngest son. He's like 6 or 5 or something like that. And he's wanting my help to make a bowl of cereal. And he has this ultra meltdown about that I won't help him make a bowl of cereal. And, he's afraid he's going to make a mess. He's afraid he's going to rip the bag everywhere. He's afraid he's going to spill the milk and all this shit. And it's like, we can clean all that up. Like, but I'm literally in the video. I'm filming him because he's having a meltdown. And I'm like, it's not my job to do things for you. It's my job to prepare you for the world, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not always going to be there to make your cereal. So the sooner you learn how to make your own cereal, the better.
Yeah, people don't want to admit the fact that they're going to die.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like Mitch could literally die tomorrow and his boys are on their own. They've got their mother. And all they have to is like, what did dad teach me?
Right.
So you've got to train them up. You've got to teach them. Like you have to do it. It's it's called real life. Accept it and do the best you can with it.
As a parent, it's not your job to be your kid's best friend. It's your job to prepare them for the real world. Prepare them for the society that they're gonna see. There was some kooky nut job in my neighborhood that got on our neighborhood Facebook page.
Oh, I like where this is going.
And they were complaining because high school kids were making out at the pool.
Yeah, no shit. That's what high school kids do.
That's what
bro.
18-year-old kids do, right? They canoodle, they do their things, right?
They're trying to grab ass.
And they were like, my kids don't need to be seeing that. And I simply got on there and I said, as a parent, I've found it's better to prepare my kids for what they're going to see in the real world than to try to make the real world behave a certain way around my children. Right? Because that's exactly what it is. You need to prepare your kids to see 18-year-old kids making out.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything. For one, they're freaking kissing, right?
First off, they are doing something wrong. But what I would like, so if I'm in the pool, this is what I do. Like, Mason's my kid. We're at the pool, right?
Right.
I say, Mason, dude, this is what happens. This is real life. Have class. You shouldn't be doing it out in front of everybody.
Right.
And then I walk over to them and I go, hey, guys, no one cares if you're making out, but have some fucking class. Hide in her car. What are you doing out here, bro?
The problem with that is that's probably the exact same person that advocates for a popular brand to show two dudes making out in their advertising. Right? We got to be inclusive. We got to include everybody.
First off, don't fucking get me started. We're in an hour and 15 minutes. We can't go down that path right now. We can't fucking go down that path right now. But even if say it was two dudes making out, I would say the same thing. I'd be like, look, dude.
Oh, yeah. No, totally.
I'd be like, hey, look, Mace, bro. Like,
yeah, chill off with your boyfriend.
This is what. No, I'm saying if he's at the pool with me.
Oh.
I'm saying, hey, dude, this is kind of like what happens. This is real life.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to see shit like this. Don't be like this.
You got to turn away.
Have some class.
Yeah.
And then I'd go up to the dudes and I'd be like, guys, have some class. Get the fuck out of here.
Take it somewhere else.
Like, this thing, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this is not real life. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, that's weak men, right?
Well, weak men is that guy posting instead of walking up to them and being like, hey, guys.
Stop it.
Dude,
right.
You got to have some class.
Right.
Like,
weak men would rather go to the masses and complain than solve the problem.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. You tell your kids, hey, this stuff happens. This is what's going on. This is how you handle it.
Yep.
And then you go up to them and you say, hey, you two, you got to have some class.
That's why.
Like, this ain't the movie theater in 1995.
Yep.
Like, have some class, go home. I don't know what to fucking tell you.
Yeah. That's why soft men and weak men create tough times.
Yeah.
Because it's only going to get tougher unless you address that problem head on.
Yeah.
Right?
And the worst part is, like, the older I get, I think I've said this on the show before, like I'll go to the bar. Like, I like to go to Captain's.
Right.
And I like to go just to have a break. Like, I shut my TV off. This has been like 8 months ago. But I like watching Royals games. And you know me, I work 7 days a week, and I'm working 3 or 4 nights a week. I work all the time. But sometimes my brain's got to shut down.
Right.
So I'll tell Jenny, like, I'm going up to Captain's for a beer. And I'll go up there and I'll drink 1 or 2 beers, and I'll literally sit in the corner by myself.
Right.
And just sit there and look at the fucking TV.
You're that creepy old guy at the bar.
Yeah, but it's like all these crazy nut jobs are everywhere, and it like takes everything I have to just not be like, dude, if you don't shut the fuck up,
yep,
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Like I'm here just to like decompress for 5 minutes. Shut your ass.
One of my
it's everywhere, man. It's fucking everywhere.
One of my mentors through my career, he had a classic saying that he would say over and over. And he's like, anytime he'd come up with a problem, he would literally just respond. Like, you already knew what you were going to bring him a problem, and you already knew what he was going to say. You got to punch that problem in the mouth.
God, right? I want to punch so many people in the mouth.
And he's not meaning, like, sometimes he's meaning figuratively, but most of the time he's meaning stop beating around the bush. Stop looking for the politically correct way to handle that situation. Hit it head on.
Yeah.
If somebody's out of line, course correct them right now.
Dude,
call them out in front of the group and handle it right now. Right? Don't be like, maybe I need to pull them aside. Like the corporate thing, a PIP, a performance improvement plan. Maybe I need to pull them aside and put them on a PIP.
Dude,
like,
I'm telling you,
call them out in the fucking meeting and say, Tom, stop your shit. Right?
Dude,
like, leave the meeting until we're done, and then we're talking after this.
We need more of that.
Right.
Like, literally, and my brother and I are complete opposites. Like, he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I told him one day, I got back from the bar. I'd been there. I was literally there 15 fucking minutes. I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to have a few beers and watch a few innings. Like, 15 minutes later, I get back, and I go down to the bar, and he's like, hey, I thought you were going to the bar. He's like, I
couldn't handle it.
I was like, dude, I told a kid that if he didn't shut his fucking mouth, I was going to beat the shit out of him at the bar, and they asked me to leave.
Yeah.
Like, because I just couldn't, this is going to make me look so bad.
You had a hard time keeping your mouth shut.
This is going to make me sound so bad. Yeah, but I literally was like, I looked him in the face and I was like, do you know how fucking stupid you sound right now? And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, what you're talking about with your buddy right now? You sound like a complete fucking jackass.
Yeah.
I said, and he was real loud and had a few beers. I said, no one in here gives a fuck.
Right.
I said, keep your fucking mouth shut.
Yeah.
I was like, or take it outside or up, whatever. No one cares. Like, everyone was staring at him.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what is this guy?
Yeah.
And literally, like, so I know a couple of guys that they're like, dude, you can't, like, come on, dude. You can't be. And I'm like, and I looked at, I keep trying to say his name and I'm not going to say it. But I looked at him and was like, dude, this is the problem. No one ever says anything.
Yep.
And then you get these drunk idiots that are just rambling off the mouth until it gets to be 12 a.m. and everyone's had too many. And then someone gets their fucking ass beat because no one said anything.
Right.
An hour and a half ago.
Right.
He's like, dude, you got to get out of here. I was like, yeah, you know what? You're probably fucking right. He's like, I got your beer. I was like, okay, I'll see. You know what? I'll see you tomorrow night.
Gone are the days of people being afraid to literally get figuratively punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's no different than that.
I should repost that one that Austin made the short of me. Like, it was just me saying, everyone's a telephone tough guy now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you wouldn't say that to someone in the face. You just literally, because you're scared you're going to get your ass beat.
Right. It's no different than a couple of episodes ago. We were sharing the story about Gus going to the indoor go-kart place.
Yeah, same thing.
Now, granted, that was a younger kid.
But still, if no one tells him, he's going to be an ass bag the rest of his life.
And I didn't get physical, right? I yelled at him. That's it.
You didn't even really yell.
I didn't even really yell. I talked sternly.
Yelling.
Right.
I know you're yelling, and it's not even yelling.
And there were still people that came onto my Facebook after I shared the story about it. There were still people that were like, you shouldn't be yelling at children. The fuck I'm not. Like, kids need yelled at.
Yeah.
If anything, that's exactly what they need.
Yeah. And listen, this whole you're not the parent of my kid. Yeah, you're right. But if you were a parent, I wouldn't fucking have to be.
Yeah.
So get off your fat, lazy ass and fucking do something about
Still
their
don't even know where the
behavior.
parents were that night. But like
that's what I'm saying.
That's the thing of it takes a village, right? Like, if my kids were behaving that way, I would hope they got yelled at by some adult, right?
Well, and that's the thing. Like, if and even people that, like, they'll go out with like, one parent will take a bunch of kids out.
Yep.
Right? Like, if I went out and I said, hey, Mitch, you're out of town. Danielle's losing with the boys. I'm going to take them go-karting. And they acted like that, and I chewed their fucking ass. You'd be like, good.
Thank you.
They fucking had it coming.
Yeah. That's
just...
There's a couple of sayings about, like, get your kids in sports because it'll actually do them good to get yelled at by somebody else. To get constructive criticism by somebody else, like a coach.
Yelling from the sidelines. What the fuck are you doing? Yeah.
But I mean, the saying of it takes a village is not because everybody's rallying in support. It also takes a village of people yelling at your kid when they're out of line.
Yeah.
Right? Like you want that.
Like when we were kids, like if mom wasn't around, uncles and aunts and babysitters will beat your fucking ass.
Yeah.
And
you see a flip-flop come off and you better be running. I'm just saying.
Dude, flip-flops hurt.
Dude, I got my ass chewed by my aunt one time, and it's one of the biggest ass chewings I ever got.
Dude, your mom chewed my ass one time.
Yeah.
And I think your dad probably chewed my ass
a lot.
Your dad wasn't as bad. Like, a few times, he was more like you, like he's stern.
Pretty calm.
But your mom would be like, what are you fucking, shoot. You got to go home.
Yeah.
Like,
This is part of it.
And you know what? It kept people, it kept us, it not only kept us in line.
It keeps you grounded.
But it also, like, your mom was my second mom.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I had my mom, my second mom, and then my stepmom was like my third mom.
Yeah.
And then Janine's mom was my third mom, and my stepmom was my fourth mom. And then I hope that bitch dies eventually, like soon, hopefully painfully, because she was just a piece of shit. But, like, I will always, to this day, like, even, like, so your dad does my insurance.
Right.
And, like, I didn't know your mom was in there. And she's like, Dave, she comes in. I was like, hey, mom number 2. Like,
right.
She knows.
Yeah.
Like, she hasn't seen me in 5 years. She knows we're super close because I have respect for her, and she knows it.
It was a couple of months ago.
Up,
Danielle posted something about, like, if your kid comes over to my house, they're gonna hear me say fuck, but they're safe. I guarantee they're safe.
Yeah.
But I'm a cuss.
Yeah, but if someone comes over here and tries to kidnap them, I'm gonna fuck them up.
Yeah.
It's just like we've lost that.
Yeah.
And it's fucking sad, man.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
Yeah, that was kind of like when I was growing up, that was almost like expected. Like if my parents were watching one of my friends, it was like they knew that, okay, that's my child also.
Right.
Yeah.
And
right.
so it was a sort of thing. And also too, like if we ever got in trouble, like tickets or something from the police, like my parents were never like, oh, it's okay. Like they let the police, like they let
deal
us
with it, bro.
face the police and be like,
yeah, that's your shit. That's your fuck up,
dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll help you navigate it, but that's on you,
you
bro.
gotta pay that.
Dude,
Okay.
we can. I know we're running long. We can end this
That's
on
okay.
a badass story that goes right in with
It
this.
doesn't matter. We can go for 2 fucking hours.
We can go as long as we want.
It's a podcast.
Just
My-
spend it 2 weeks.
My oldest son.
No, we're gonna let it fly this time.
My oldest son went with me to the gun range one day, and he was wearing a hoodie. It was cold outside, and we're shooting my handgun 9mm, and pop, 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 pop. You know, whatever else.
Real gun,
right?
got it.
Couple hundred rounds. It's my concealed gun.
I'm just kidding. God damn,
It's my burner. It's my burner gun. It's a Sky CPX2.
God, it is a burner gun.
Yeah,
it's
it's
worth $170.
$229. $229 is what I paid for
You've
it.
got money.
I know, but
Get something nice.
if I'm gonna take one that like gets thrown around in the I don't have to care for it, right? It's $229 and it's pretty fucking accurate.
First
so.
off, if it's a good gun, you should be able to throw it all around and it still function.
But Skies does that. It's actually passed like the best endurance test ever. You can drive over with a car.
Trigger pull's this long.
It is, yeah, no safety, so
That
it's a long
sucks.
trigger
You don't
pull.
want that.
So,
Jenny's 380.
anyway,
Tauruses like that. It's a
we
piece of shit.
go to the gun range and we come home. Oh boy, we come home and Mason ends up finding a 9mm casing in the pocket of his hoodie. Somehow through the gun range, it like flew out of the gun, landed in his hoodie pocket.
Story of my life. They're all over my deck.
Yeah, and so I'm like,
Everywhere. At my
he's
house.
like, can I keep it? And I'm like, yeah, you can keep it. However,
Don't take it to school, bro.
it's just like your pocket knife. You cannot take it to school, right? I said, if you take it to school, they're going to kick you out of school. They're going to expel you. And then if you get expelled from school, mom or I have to quit our jobs and we have to stay home with you. And if we have to quit our jobs, we can't afford our house. So we have to sell our house. And like, I gave him this whole long story.
Yeah, and if it's your mom, your life's over.
Yeah.
Like literally every day.
So he was like, all right, I won't take it to school. Well, then it got warm for a week or two. And then it got cold, so he puts his hoodie back on. He goes out to recess in the middle of the day, and he comes back in. They're all lined up to go to the bathroom, and he puts his hands in his pockets because his hands were cold, and he feels the bullet casing in there. And so he walks straight up to the teacher, and he says, I found something in my pocket. I'm not supposed to have at school. I don't know what to do about it. And she says, well, go on into the bathroom, come out of the bathroom, and we'll take care of it. Well, now he knows he has a bullet casing in his pocket and all the dudes are in the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
So nobody comes out of the bathroom for like 15 minutes. And so the teacher goes in there wondering why nobody's coming out.
Yeah.
And she walks in there and Mason's standing in the circle of boys with his hands cupped and a bullet casing in there. And all the boys are just in amazement that he's got a bullet casing in there,
Yeah.
right?
You know, 50 years ago, they were all like, dude,
That's normal.
who
right?
cares?
Right.
Yeah.
Like
So-
there's shotguns in the back of the truck because they went bird hunting before they went to school.
Yeah, and
Like-
this is a spent casing, so there's no danger to anybody, right? And so now he's in trouble, and so she takes him to the principal's office. The principal calls me, and she's like, "I don't know what to do with this. It's a spent. She's got boys. She's got weapons." Right? She knows.
Throw it away.
She's like, it's a spent casing. I don't know how you want to handle this. He's not really in trouble, but this is like really borderline, right? And I told him, I told the principal, her is actually a female. I told her, I'm like, you said he's not in trouble, right? And she goes, no, because it's a spent casing. It's not. If it was a full blown bullet, it'd be different. But it's a spent casing. I don't know.
What's he gonna do? Bang it on the ground and try to
don't
kill
know.
someone?
So I'm like, well, if he's not in trouble, like he knew the rules. We had this whole conversation. He knew the rules. He knew he'd be in trouble. I said, we got what, 3 hours of school left? She goes, yeah. I said, can you do me a favor? Can you keep him in your office for the rest of the day and tell him that you're checking with your boss to see if he's going to be expelled from school? I want him to sweat his ass out for the next 3 hours because he knew what the consequences were, right? And even if it was accidental, because he's not in trouble, he knows what the consequences are. So here the principal is calling me, and I'm actually asking her to get more strict, right?
Yeah.
Because this is the perfect opportunity to teach him the best lesson ever.
That there are consequences.
That there are consequences for your actions. Exactly.
I agree with that 100%. It's just a weird way to do it.
It's a weird way to do it, but it was the perfect storm to teach that lesson.
Yeah.
Right. And so she did, and she actually messaged me. She emailed me a little bit later, and she was like, I couldn't do it. I kept him for 2 hours, but I couldn't do him for the whole day. So he went back to class in the last hour.
Yeah.
But essentially, like, he came home and he was sobbing and crying, and I almost got like, you know, he's doing the whole thing, right?
The whole time you're like, well, that's my fault.
Well, I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm enjoying it because it was an awesome lesson.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Because
you're such a douche.
Because from that moment forward, he realized Dad ain't lying. Dad, like, I literally could have gotten expelled.
Yeah.
So now I listen to Dad because Dad don't lie.
You don't let him listen to podcasts, do you? Because now it's over.
I share him all this shit.
Well, now it's over.
No, he already knows that.
Oh, okay.
He already knew that. So, but we'll end it on that. We've gone an hour and a half. So, guys,
where does it start going on one topic? I don't know what the fuck we're supposed to do here.
If you got value from this show, if this show taught you something, if it made you think about things in a different way, do us a favor and send this episode. Like, literally pull your phone out, hit the share button, and send it to somebody who would get value from this show. Also, if you see somebody asking questions about starting a business or running a business online, please do us a favor and tell them to watch The Void, because that's literally the purpose of this show, is to empower you guys to be better business owners. So until next week, we will see you later.
Love you guys.